Discover science with us. Fun, wonder, and stories.
Lily and the bee, come learn and see. Science is fun for you and me. Lily and the bee, come learn and see. Science is fun for you and me. Hi everyone, this is Princess Jenna Ross, your host today's fun science and stories. Welcome to Friction Town, where all the houses slide around on smooth, slippery streets. All the cars zoom around without slowing down because here in Friction Town, friction takes a holiday. In our world, friction is the force that opposes motion. When two surfaces rub against each other, friction acts on them and it always opposes the motion. So if you slide a book across the table, friction will oppose the sliding motion and try to bring the book to rest. When we walk, friction between our shoes and the ground acts on our feet and stops us from slipping. If there was no friction, we would slip and slide all over the place, and even simple things like walking, holding hands, or writing with a pencil would be impossible. If you move your hands fast, you can actually feel the heat arising from your palms. This is because when two surfaces rub against each other, some energy converts into heat. That's why rubbing your hands together makes them warm up. In fact, all the time there is a small amount of heat being produced by your hands rubbing against each other and also against the things you touch. But you don't notice this because it's very little. However, when you rub your hands together quickly or rub them against something, the friction increases and more energy converts into heat, so your hands start feeling warmer. Friction also causes the moving parts of machines to wear out with time. For example, when you use a bike, the friction between the tires and the road gradually wears out the tires. But this is not a bad thing because this extra heat that is produced due to friction keeps the tires at the right pressure and they do not get too cold. This friction makes everything slow down and come to rest. It helps us hold things in our hands, walk on the ground, and even breathe. In fact, friction is everywhere. You just cannot see it. You know what? In Friction Town, the buildings were built by bees who made them out of honeycombs. They thought these buildings would never fall apart because they stuck together so well. But one day a big gust of wind blew through town, knocking off a honeycomb block from its sticky neighbors. The block slid down the side of the building and the townsbee rushed to catch it before it fell. "Hold on," cried the townsbee, but the block was stuck in a slide and went swoosh past him. It tumbled over and over until it reached the bottom of the hill and landed with a thud. Just then, another bee landed nearby. "What happened?" he asked. "I was trying to stop this block from sliding, but it just kept sliding further," replied the townsbee. "But how?" "These blocks stick together so well." "Well, that's only on a flat surface," explained the other bee. "When an object moves downhill, gravity pulls it faster and faster, so the downward motion wins over the stickiness." The first bee was surprised. "Oh, so the steeper the slide, the faster it goes." "Yep, that's why you need lots of friction when you go down a hill on a bike," added the other bee. "Otherwise you'll go zooming all the way down." The first bee nodded. He had never thought about sliding before. All the buildings in Friction Town were perfectly still, so nothing ever slid down. "Do you think this block will slide back uphill?" asked the first bee. "Nope, not unless someone gives it a push," replied the other bee, "because on its own it doesn't have enough energy to overcome the stickiness and move uphill." The first bee thought for a moment. "Wait a minute, when did you learn all this?" "Last week I took a course on hills with a wise old owl," said the other bee. "He knew everything about sliding and hills and gravity, and he told me that friction is important when you are going downhill because if there was no friction, you'd shoot off like a rocket." The first bee gasped. No friction, no stopping a shooting star. No holding hands, no walking, no cars, no houses. How could we live without friction? "We can't," agreed the other bee. "That is why I was so surprised when I arrived in Friction Town and noticed that nothing ever slid down the hills. I mean, sure, the buildings stick together well, but they need friction to stay in place." The bees flew back up the hill to tell the others what they had learned. They all worked together to add tiny pebbles to the slide to make the buildings stick to the hill. Then they went back to their work, happy to know that their houses would stay in place, and from then on, they used friction to their advantage in building their amazing honeybee town. After the story, you can ask your child, how does friction help us in our daily lives? Can you think of anything that would happen if there was no friction? What are some ways we can increase friction? What are some ways we can decrease friction? Friction can be increased by increasing the roughness of the surface. Rough surfaces have more bumps and edges which interlock with each other and cause more friction. For example, when you wear shoes with rough soles, it is easier to walk on a rough surface than on a smooth surface. You can also increase friction by pressing harder. If you press harder on the pencil lead, it makes a thicker line and will make more friction and therefore will wear the pencil faster. You can decrease friction by smoothing the surfaces. Smooth surfaces have fewer bumps and edges, so they do not interlock with each other as much and cause less friction. For example, a hockey puck glides easily on a smooth ice rink. You can also decrease friction by pressing less. If you press a pencil lead very lightly on a sheet of paper, you can write a thinner line, and it will make less friction and will not wear the pencil as fast. Next, show your kid this magic trick. Rub your palm against your thumb really hard. You might not feel much heat, but if you take your hand away, you'll see that there is a small pile of skin. This happens because your palm pushes against your thumb and makes the skin rub against each other. So friction plays a big role in our lives. It helps us do so many things, but most of the time we don't even notice it. But if there was no friction, we would not be able to do many of the things we do every day. So let's take a moment to appreciate all the ways that friction helps us out. Now check out this video and learn about gravity for kids, or watch another amazing science video for kids. Click the video and keep learning. Thank you for watching. Once again, this is your host, Princess Jenna Ross.
Follow him. Don't miss out. Follow him for updates. Follow him today.
Hi everyone, please follow my Facebook page for more updates.